Record it. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we are just going to kind of jump right in. Again, even though he's in California, he brings such value. He's been a friend of mine for years now. I met him when I first came out here to open up the luxury brand. And I have always been blown away with what he does for marketing and everything for agents. So Paul, take it away. We're a fun group. We're from all over the world sometimes. You never know who's going to be popping on here. And I'm just super excited. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Of course. Well, always my pleasure. Peggy, as you said, we've known each other for years, and I also know you're always up on what is cutting edge in our space, and you know, obviously you know who we do business with here. So I'm gonna drop a few big names in the sense that you might know if you're watching the property shows, just so I can quickly establish some credibility in what I do. But my passion really is in educating the real estate industry, and we're just regional. So if you've seen this little icon above, most of you are not going to be familiar with Preview First. But and then also, Peggy, what I'm gonna if I can do, I want to be able to share my screen here.
Absolutely. Let me just
and I'll hand it back, but I want to be able to show the big platforms somewhat real time to quickly educate attendees as to the opportunity, I think, with a lot of things happening in real estate. So let me see if I can share. So
I'm going to make you, oh, you got it. Okay.
Oh, so is everybody seeing, right? Let me expand this. So everybody's seeing that, right?
Can you guys all see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Great.
Okay. So Preview First, we claim to be California's #1 real estate photography team, but we're an award-winning architectural photography company, numerous awards. One of our biggest moments was the Golden Nugget. If you're a big architectural fan, it's the prestigious, it's probably the oldest running contest in architectural design awards and photography awards in the country. There's over 1,100. I think there were actually 1,200 contestants. So we were the winners of a division with that particular award. So it's we know we're doing with photos, so which is still the #1 demanded home shopping feature for home shoppers. And it's not lost on all the big platforms how important photography is. And I'm not talking just, you know, Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, all these big marketplaces that consumers go to. And we'll cover that in a bit here, because I'm going to be covering the most dominant of all of them, the #1 incumbent that you might not have the best opinion about. So because there's an opportunity on that platform to literally hack it for free with regards to promotion and getting some listing enhancements that you might not even be aware of, because 3 to 5% of the market's only doing it. So very quickly, who this company is above my head here that I have the pleasure of heading up. We work with some of the biggest names in real estate. Southern California happens to be one of the most competitive property markets in the world. So I work with the clients that you see on $1 million listings, selling Sunset, selling OC, so I work with HGTP people, some of the OC housewives. These are clients of mine, right? So I enjoy a very large market share. We have over 20,000 clients here in California. And I work with most of the top producers in the 8 counties that I service. So unfortunately, because I have done these national trainings before, I do not currently service your neck of the woods, but it's very easy for you to be able to find out who the top people are in your respective space. So if you want to message me afterwards, I'm going to be also, Peggy, I'm going to be giving you the slides that I'm going to be going through today with data points and with all the correct citations too. So attendees can't quote these numbers, and consumers, you just got to know how easy of a hook when you say I have a unique marketing proposition that I leverage the big national platforms and I optimize my listings marketing to outperform the local market. And I tap into geo-targeted, AI-driven resources that push my listings to people that are shopping for similar properties. So you mentioned you start dropping kind of little nuggets like that at the door, on the phone, in the living room. And I know it translates to sale. I work with enough busy agents that do 10, 20, 50, 100, 200. I have a client that does 4,000 listings a year with me. They're a brand. But so I work at the really high level. I work at a big enterprise level with a lot of the brands. So I'm training some of the top people in real estate in Southern California. So it was a pleasure for me to come on these national platforms and be able to hopefully distribute some information, because quite frankly, some of the things I'll share with you, I think our market is out of bounds. There's a couple platforms that have way too much market share. And when I train the associations, believe it or not, the information I'll be sharing with you today, I've been censored on. So because of some antitrust concerns. So if you feel the need to switch off, because I might be mentioning some competing platforms that you're head to head with, feel free to drop off. But there's some other things that I hope that you'll leave here with, like, oh my word, I had no idea that was going on. I'm really feeling optimistic because of all the negative press that we got last year. 2023 was a character building year in real estate. So 2024, we started out in 5th gear as a company. And I'm just regional, but we started out in 5th gear. So hopefully that's going to be the general experience for everybody. So that's the long preamble. Go through, my website, you'll see what we offer. But whoever you're using in real estate, just know that it's not lost on the algorithms. They're actually designed now to analyze photos. There's geo-targeted information that my company embeds into our images that all help my clients in regards to SEO. It all contributes, just so you know. It's not lost. Like, if you guys can see this, probably it's going to get green screened out here, but I'm holding a phone. That's how most people shop for real estate nowadays. In fact, one of the platforms that I mentioned before, and it's no mystery, I'm going to cover Zillow here in a bit. Literally, they get over 1 billion visits a month. Okay, it's 200 million unique visitors come to their website every month. Okay, it's like America's second pastime next to TikTok and Instagram is searching Zillow. So if you're not visible on them and you're not, in a sense, being consumers having access to you on these big giant platforms, you really are missing an opportunity. And I'm going to show you a way to do it for free. Okay, so yeah, you don't hear that very often with regard to that platform. And then I'm going to have a very limited touch on a platform. If you're not aware of them, you should be aware of them, because I think they are I'm not going to be nerdy and do the Obi-Wan Kenobi quote, but they really are our hope in regards to another platform that can come and compete head to head with Zillow, and that's homes.com. So check them out if you're not familiar with them. I'm not sponsored by them. And quite frankly, I don't own a dime of Zillow stock, and I'd be a stupid investor if I did. Personally, that's my personal opinion, because of where it's currently sitting. But so I'm not invested in that platform either. So I'm trying to remain objective. This is the way I'm going to deliver you the information. And again, I'll pivot through. We're going to go through some of these slides here in a bit, but check us out. I know what I'm doing. I'm often in the Rob Report. If you're not familiar with it, it's a luxury report. That was the Prince of Saudi Arabia's place my team shot. I'm in Wall Street Journal. That was a record listing in Orange County we did. We were in Forbes. That was Bill Gates' property. I work with Hollywood A-listers, celebrity listings, record listings. I work with the Altmans, if you're familiar with them. And we're going to touch on them too, because some of the recommendations I'm going to have, people are going to be, oh, yeah, Paulo, 3D, which is one of my major marketing recommendations, is for apartments, condos, and Airbnbs. And it's not. It's the future of real estate and how we're going to market real estate. And companies are spending billions of dollars on it. And all my heavy hitters are checking the box. And I'm talking Tim Smith, Josh Altman, if you know the Altman brothers, they're all adding 3D to their listings. Okay, we're going to cover that in a bit. And this is the Kettle One vodka. If you're familiar with the family that owns Kettle One vodka, again, 3D. And these aren't $500,000 properties. These are 10, 20, 40, 50, $60 million properties that we're adding 3D to. Okay, so, and then if you search around in whatever respective market you are, go on and do a search, homes for sale in whatever it is, New York, homes for sale in San Francisco, homes for sale in Miami, and see what the big platforms serve up. And you're going to see a lot of it is homes with virtual marketing, because immersive marketing is the #1 demanded home shopping feature after photos with consumers. Okay. We'll cover that here in a bit. So, okay. So let me jump into this here very quickly. And I'm not talking just Zillow. This is all platforms. Okay. So, so you really want to have your marketing optimized in 2024. 2023 was tough. 2024, there's great opportunity, but the marketing is going to need to be about you. Okay, you're going to need to have whatever your marketing strategy is. Your points of difference need to be distinctive, and you need to get consumer attention. And I'll cover some of the data as to what you're up against. Right, you got 6 to 9 weeks to get someone's attention when they start shopping online. They're thinking of one agent. NAR and CAR and all these groups have done research studies, and consumers are thinking of one agent who they've dealt with in the past. So you have to be strategic. You have to have a really robust and thought through branding campaign that has to be digital, traditional, social, and you got to be putting those just listed in my mailbox. But I need to be seeing you on all other fronts. You need to you need to be top of mind on multiple fronts with me to have me stop to reconsider who I was thinking of doing business with. And then quite frankly, the way that Southern California market is, you're going to be one of about 3 to 5 agents lining up to hopefully get into my living room. When you are finally in my living room, you better be giving me information I haven't heard before. Okay, for me to really consider doing business with you. And I'm a middle-aged individual, so it's even worse with the millennials. So 9 to 12 weeks online, right? So again, Southern California's top team. Yeah, oops, not that comes. It looks like I've got my wrong slides up, but anyway, so we are a very curated source for some of the top luxury brands on the West Coast. So if you are in Southern California, I'm extremely affordable. Again, I'll share these slides with Peggy, and she can supply them to you. So here we go. 92 plus. It's like the new number that this is based upon a slightly older research study. It's like 95% of home shoppers begin their home search online, right? So NAR says 76% of them are doing it with their phones. So if you're not mobily optimized, first off, you're not even going to show up in search results. If you're not putting good quality images, you're not even you don't understand the SEO challenge you're up against. If your 4 quadrants of your photos on sharp, good composite, good exposure, there's a whole bunch of elements that go into how these platforms are now evaluating photos. And if you're making the mistake of shooting them on, you can't see my phone here. My little green screen is blending it out. You're making the mistake of shooting listing photos on a phone. Believe you me, it's not lost on the big platforms. There's metadata attached to every single image out on the web, and they know what you shot it on. And if it's shot on a cell phone, I've spoken to people behind the Google search algorithm. You are getting ranked lower with SEO. There's multiple things they're looking at with regards to imagery, and that's just the beginning, right? It's how quickly it loads, what type of file extension you've used, video, what are you using, how quickly is it loading on your website. This all affects whether you're going to show up in page 1, and that's the tip of the iceberg, whether you're showing up in page 1 in regards to your marketing. So just bear that all in mind. But for sure, if your website hasn't had a facelift in the last 3 to 5 years and you're not fully mobilely optimized, please go invest the money to figure out with somebody that really knows SEO to re-optimize your website for mobile viewing. Okay. It's actually the majority of like Zillow, we're talking Zillow, and we're going to cover too why I recommend being mobily optimized. Over 80 to 90% of Zillow's traffic's mobile. So I'll let that sit with you, okay? They have market share that's 3 times the largest competitor, and 80 to 90% of their traffic is mobile. And that goes the same for a lot of the other platforms too. So just remember, again, 6 to 9 weeks online, thinking of one agent. Over 70% of them are thinking of one agent. So being top of mind is not important, it's essential, okay? It takes 0.7 seconds to establish that first impression with online potential clients, right? 20 resets is what Psychology 101 says. So you need to be fully mobile optimized. Your marketing needs to be top tier, whatever part of the world you're in. There's great photographers out there. So you just got to be, so unfortunately, sometimes you have to pay a little more versus the local photographer or the in-house photographer that some brands are accustomed to using. And believe it or me, it really plays into your success. Okay. So, and then again, I'm going to go over this ad nauseum. So your marketing needs to be tailored to, and it needs to matter to your target audience. Okay. Not to you. So one of the big pivot points that I'm going to talk about today that is AI driven is this new immersive marketing front or frontier of 3D and where it's all heading with augmented reality. When I train thousands and thousands of agents every year. I have a large training coming up, a regional training with 6,000 agents with one brand. Okay. And if I polled them, 80% of them would probably say, Paulo, I have a negative opinion on Matterport or 3D in general. And I'm going to tell them, so what? Consumers love it. Consumers love 3D, and all the research study shows it. The big platforms are favoring listings with it. Go online and search around on Redfin, Realtor.com, Zillow, and see all the listings, and go on Google and Bing and see what listings come up in your marketplace. The ones they serve up first are the ones with 3D. And it's not because they're trying to push this because they invested in Apple, who just launched their very inexpensive Apple glasses, right? It's because people are, these platforms are spending billions of dollars on 3D. It is what they claim is the next frontier in regards to marketing residential and commercial real estate. And I mostly staffed in photographers. So not people out there shooting Zillow 3D and Matterport 3D for me. I make more profit if you order photography from me. But I am starting to definitely notice the trends, and we're making some changes as a company. I'm one of the largest. I'm the third largest on the West Coast that does this in real estate. So just understand, your marketing needs to matter to your target audience, not to you. Get out of the way of your opinions on marketing and look at the empirical data and see what is the path to success based upon the empirical data. And you, as a business owner, you need to make some good, sound business decisions based on facts and figures, okay, and not opinions, okay? So again, video is still important, but 3D is coming on so strong. I mean, again, Peggy, how much time? Because I have, you know me, I do have the tendency to run long.
Okay, our time, it's 6:20 a.m. our time, so we have until 7 o'clock.
Okay, so
you got about another 40 minutes, but I would love for questions. So okay, let's bring it down to 30, 25, 30.
Okay, so let me move along a little quicker here, but I will tell you. So like people go, okay, so what? So some of this is like we're, appeasing shareholders or whatever, so they make some investments in 3D just to kind of keep an, show that there's some diversified servicing or some product development going on. My kid, went to a high school in Newport. One of his classmates' brother ran a small little company that we attended one of the school functions at one of his many homes on a little island in Newport. And this young man sold his company, I think at 23, with his partner to Facebook for $2.3 billion. I'll let that settle in for a little bit. And all they do is at the time, they sold virtual reality goggles. So if you're familiar with the Oculus Rift, and people thought Facebook were nuts when they made that investment, okay, that purchase. So just so you know that this is one of many multi 7, 8-figure investments companies have been making in 3D over the last 5 to 10 years. Zillow is the other one that they went head to head and said, okay, what can we make our platform more sticky with? And they looked around, they looked at the numbers and the data, and quite frankly, they decided 3D would be kind of where they wanted to start to move their platform towards in developing an immersive marketing approach to marketing listings or presenting listings up on their platform. And they started to develop what's called Zillow 3D Home, and we'll cover that. And little old preview first up here helped Zillow launch that in the United States. We ran about 5 years ago, we ran a pilot program for Zillow in San Diego County in Southern California here, and helped them launch Zillow 3D. And it's so these big platforms, it's not lost to them. Consumers love 3D, and it's where they're all heading. Apple is not insane for coming out to the market with a $3,500 augmented reality glass, and it's eventually gonna fuse into our world. Imagine going through a listing and you're the listing agent, or you're the buy agent, sorry, and you presented your client with a listing that has 3D, and they're able to navigate that home in augmented reality, and they're complaining about the floors or the cabinetry, and real time you can go ahead and change it from dark oak to white oak, or you can change the cabinets to maple. All of this stuff is coming. So just know it's where the future of marketing real estate is. And if you're not familiar with it, you need to get familiar with it. There's really good opportunity when you add it to listings on Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com and the big platforms. So even though right now it's still about photos, right? So photos are still king. So the vast majority of surveyed consumers say it's still the #1 demand home shopping feature. So in fact, 60% of consumers' time spent looking at your listing photos, 20% at your property description. They'll eliminate your listing because of poor photos on the web. So please be careful of the type of listing photos that you're putting out there. And again, I'm not even talking about search algorithm. Now I'm talking about consumer preference. But what was #2 in NAR's 2022 trends report was floor plans, the second most valuable media item to buyers after professional photography. Guess what was #3? I know you can't ask you questions right now because it's not the Q&A session. It was agents' contact info. So good luck if you're on a phone. If you're on a phone and you're on Zillow or you on Realtor.com, is it easy for a consumer to find your contact info on those platforms? The answer is no. Okay. And it's almost by design. And I'm saying almost just in case I think I'm being recorded here, so I don't want to end up in court. So it's like buried down on the #1 incumbent platform in the country. Is buried down on page 3. But as you get down to page 3, you will encounter a slew of call agent, contact agent, and you think that's you? No. So I'm going to show you a hack on how to overcome that on these big platforms. Okay. So #1, photos. #2, floor plans. Are you guys providing it? Because 3 to 5% of the market's only doing it. So it's huge opportunity here for you to get some market advantage. And then #3, is consumers a buyer getting easy access to you, the listing agent, who they should have access to because you know the most about that property? Right? No, they're not on all these platforms. And it's by design, because a lot of them are designed, I think, structured this way in order to have a consumer connect with their lead gen, right? Their lead generation platforms, and for usually people that are buying into the relationship with that platform. Okay, so moving on. Okay, and then these numbers are compelling. We're going to cover some of this. These big surveys that these platforms have done, consumers overwhelmingly want immersive marketing. They want spatial context. Help me understand this listing. Help me understand your property, right? And photos don't do it. Video doesn't do it. They're all well aware of how selective photos can be, how you can choose compositions and not give them a full look at the property. And by you thinking I'm not going to add immersive marketing because it's going to eliminate me in the running with some potential buyers, you're right. But the majority of the consumers, you're missing out on the market. You're missing out on getting placement on these big platforms. So by not adding it, it's hurting you more than you think it is. Okay, by not adding it. So okay, so here we go. So I'm going to go a little quicker through here. Most of these platforms are highlighting listings with virtual marketing, like video, and mostly with 3D. Okay, there's huge consumer increase in demand after COVID, and it's remained. It's ebbed a little, but I mean, like Redfin posted almost 500% increase in homes being viewed with 3D after COVID than before. So, and a lot of that's remained. So it's not lost on the big platforms. Again, it's where a lot of them are making some big investments. So, and a video, again, if you're in SoCal, you are familiar with that listing I just showed you there. It was a $32 million property that we shot It sold in 4 days. Okay. And the agent swears it's our marketing. So I told him I got to get him on record. But he checked every box that we have: photo, video, aerial, 3D. He mic'd up. He did the agent intro, outro that boosts engagement by 200 to 300% when you post it on social media. So again, when it doesn't have to be a $32 million listing for you to do that with. I have clients that check every box that we have with $1 million listings or $500,000 listings in the Inland Empire, if you're familiar with Temecula and Murrieta here in Southern California, okay? They're still highly important. 80% of all the web traffic last year was video. And I'm telling you, if you want, you're in a business that's all about relationship and you're not showing up in your media, it plays into your success in real estate. YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world after Google. Of course, you know who owns YouTube, right? So, so video is still highly important. So, but I don't want to, I'm running long. You'll have these slides to go through. I have my recommendations and some suggestions, but the intro outro component of, if you're doing listing videos and you're not showing up in your media, you're absolutely missing out on what Tom Ferry, if you're familiar with Tom Ferry, and a lot of the other big real estate coaches are saying, you're not engaging your consumer in a business that's all about relationship. So if Tom, he says, if you want the I know you, like you, and trust you phone calls, show up in your media. And most of my busy clients personalize their videos, their listing videos, by showing up in what's called and doing an intro, outro, and that CTA, that stands for call to action. So hope you enjoyed this video. Would love to connect with you. If you want a private showing, all my contact info will follow. Super simple. Okay. Super simple intro. Welcome to my listing here in Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Connecticut, wherever it is, right? Let me tell you a little about this listing. I hope you enjoy the listing video. Get out of the way within 5 to 10 seconds. A real brief intro, outro, and then call to action. So that's simple, right? And your engagement goes up dramatically. Consumer demand for 3D. And again, these are, if you know these names, these are like the top players on the West Coast are checking the boxes for 3D because of this data. How much your listing will be viewed on these big platforms. These are numbers that Zillow's delivered. 60 more views than homes without 3D. 79% more saved, 79% more shares. All these numbers where Matterport ran a big survey, and most of the surveyed individuals said they would switch agents if they saw a competing agent that offered an immersive marketing, showing that their investment in the marketing for their listing was, they were committed to providing more immersive marketing. They would consider switching services. So just be aware of all these numbers are going and what consumer interests are and how that plays into your success. Okay, so and the platform I've been touching on, I don't care what your opinion is on them. You need to be Swiss about it. Just look at the data. So again, I covered NAR's 2022 trends report is that consumers want 3D, but they also want 3D that is, it allows them to understand spatial context. And that is where AI comes in with this immersive AI solution that some companies are offering them. One of them is Zillow, okay? So if you're not familiar with Zillow 3D Home with interactive floor plans, we're gonna cover it. And again, I said, get out of the way of your opinions about Zillow. This is the reality you're dealing with. This is an independent research study that shows their market share, okay? So across the United States, 60+% in like SoCal, it's 60 to 70% market share is what they enjoy. It's 3 times their nearest competitor. And when we go ahead, my team go out and we shoot great photos, right? And then we'll add a Zillow 3D, but it needs, guys, it needs to have the interactive floor plan. So whoever you're using in the United States to potentially add one of these, and I highly recommend you do, and I'll show you why, all the benefits that you get when you add these things to your listings on this platform. Day one, it pushes out to Zillow. So say you were live today. My team came out, we shot photos, and we added a Zillow 3D. Day one, you would boost you to the top of the search results for a week. It would geo-target email for you. Zillow would, courtesy of Zillow, in your local marketplace. You stay premium placement the entire time the listing's live. Okay, it badges your listing up on Zillow and Trulia. Day two, it auto syndicates over to this platform. I don't know if everybody's seen my little cursor over Redfin, because Zillow has a data partnership with Redfin that no one seems to know about. So where they have a data push where my team will publish a Zillow product on Zillow, and day two, that same Zillow product pushes over to a competing platform with Zillow disclaimers on Redfin. So you're checking the box for 3 giant big platforms that, quite frankly, it's without buying into the relationship. So all that I'm talking about is absolutely free. So, and if you're like, well, I don't really have to, I don't like Zillow. I feel like I'm contributing to them. Even if you don't like Zillow, you should be doing this, because if you don't like Zillow, you're essentially putting your cookies on their lower shelf for free. Okay. The majority of the market is shopping there. That's the reality of what you're dealing with. They get 1.9 billion. I was wrong. I think I said 1 billion. They get 1.9 billion visits with 200 unique users every month, right? That's 60% of all real estate app-related traffic. 60% plus, okay? So by adding Zillow 3D home and interactive floor plans that are AI driven, I'll show you in a bit here, you really are maximizing your listings exposure and opportunity for you, not them, you, okay? And it also brands it with your brand, and I'll show you in that in a bit. And then again, like I shared with you, it auto syndicates over to Redfin too. So again, when you add one of these, and I'll show you what one of these look like here in a bit, 7-day boost on Zillow, premium placement the entire time listings live, special Zillow emails are pushed out to home shoppers, courtesy of Zillow, right? So, and I got them, like literally I've saved, my team, I know that they're going to do a shoot in wherever it is, Newport Beach. I've saved that listing. My team shot a Zillow 3D, and within half an hour of publishing that, I'm getting emails from Zillow. Hey, Paulo, check out this listing here in Newport Beach, right? So great opportunity. Anyway, and agents branding is displayed in the Zillow 3D tour, okay? And then again, I'll be sharing these data points in these slides because I got to move a little quicker, so I'm not able to go over all of the data points here. But again, premium placement, emails out to buyers, again, branding it with you, not the Zillow agent or the Zillow buyer agent, right? That's bought into that relationship with them. And again, here's a little cheat sheet as far as all the benefits for you to be able to explain this to homeowners, potential clients, when you are looking to add these. And again, I highly recommend you do, whoever you're using in your respective space. This is a nationwide program. You have the benefits that I'm sharing with you, from what I understand from Zillow, is available nationwide, not just SoCal, and to my clients. And most of my busy clients are doing this, just so you know. And again, NAR's 2020 Trends report says floor plans were the #1 most valuable media feature after photos, okay? And other big platforms are saying the same thing. Zillow's 2022 housing report said the same thing, and they're not all colluding. They're running their own independent research studies, and they're coming up with the same results with regards to consumer demand, okay? So as I shared with you, NAR's 2022 Trends report, floor plans, the #2 most demanded home shopping media feature after photos, and then real estate agent info was right after that. And I said, good luck accomplishing that on the big platforms, right? Because I think it's by design, okay? So here's what they look like. Here's some examples of listings that we've added. And yes, some of these are going to be outside your brand, but I want you to see, when you land on Zillow, and this is again 80 to 90% of their traffic, if you naively think this is you, if I'm a buyer and I'm trying to find whoever the listing agent is, because I want to know, is those solar panels up on that roof still under warranty? Is that pool in the backyard, when was the liner replaced? Or, I got questions about the property that I logically want to connect with the listing agent, who would be the most knowledgeable person about that property. Where do you think you are featured on this particular platform? You're down on page 3 on the facts and features section, but getting down there are a whole bunch of these little contact agent buttons, and it's not you. You need to click on one of those and read the small print, okay? And realize, if I'm a buyer, who I'm connecting with. And I've done this, I've tested this out live. We even had a Premier agent that had where it says call agent, right? And I called that live. I put it on speakerphone at a training with an active listing, and I reached the Zillow call center. And they said, okay, hi, this is Zillow. How can I contact you? And I said, I got some questions about this particular listing. And I'll use this one as an example, saying in Irvine. And they go, like, hey, great, let me get all your contact info. I'll have an agent connect with you. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to reach the listing agent. And I had the listing agent saying over my shoulder, hey, tell him to reach me. And I said, yeah, I'm trying to reach, Cheryl. Is there any way I can connect with her? She goes, because I got some questions about the neighborhood and the community. They're like, no, let me get all your contact info, and I'll have a knowledgeable agent who's very familiar with that neighborhood get a hold of you. I said, no, I'm trying to actually reach the listing agent, Cheryl. And they said, I'm sorry, they didn't say anything. At that point, when I pushed, they hung up on me. But sure enough, the next day, an agent started to call me on a regular basis, asking me my interest in that property, right? And it wasn't the listing agent, it was another agent that had bought into that relationship with this platform. So when you add a Zillow 3D, not only do you get an interactive, make sure whoever's doing it is also selecting the floor plan option. Otherwise, the AI, Zillow's floor plan team will not develop the AI floor plan for you. And through machine learning, what it'll actually do, it'll learn where you're at in the home, and gives the spatial dimensions of the home, tells me what direction I'm looking at, and it'll actually learn based on the high resolution photos your photographer's taken. And what it does is through machine learning, it'll actually show, and I'll demonstrate this here in a bit, where you're at in the home, the direction you're looking at, the spatial dimensions of the room you're in. And the entire time, every photo is branded with the listing agent, with the ability to click on the agent's free Zillow profile and connect with them within Zillow and call them. Okay, if you've seen this all here. So make sure if you're doing these things, your Zillow profile is up to date, and you're using ideally the email you use on the MLS, but then also obviously make sure that it's a legitimate phone number that they can actually call you within. So you kind of completely hack or bypass the design of this platform to kind of monetize your listings, right? So so that's one of the opportunities. And again, this was the we call the Tom Cruise property in Laguna Beach. So it's multiple different types across all the different brokerage and brands that we do business with. What they look like on mobile app, which is again 80 to 90% of the this particular platform's web traffic, and what it looks like on desktop, again 5 to 10% of the web traffic, right? And as I said, as you move through the space, it learns, and this was navigating by the high resolution photos. It learns the spatial data my team captured for this particular listing. When we deliver it to Zillow's team, their AI solution will take all that spatial data and it'll translate it to the high res photos, which is how most people will be navigating your listing. So, again, it's a very similar consumer experience to Matterport, but even better with directional chevrons. So, and it's multiple platforms. This is obviously Zillow. This is Redfin, right? So, and this is the Altman brothers, if you're familiar with the $1 Million Listing team. So it's not just condos, Airbnb. It's multi-million-dollar ultra luxury listings that are adding these, and the ability to connect with the agent, right? So, by adding these, right? Adding Zillow 3D and make sure it is the interactive floor plan that's selected too with whoever your team is across the country, right? It brands the listing with you, okay? So buyers can connect directly with you versus the Zillow buyer agent, okay? And again, multiple platforms. And if you know these players in the space, these are all the top agents within these respective brands. So I want to show you multiple brands. And obviously we also doing a lot of work with EXP here and their agents down in SoCal, trying to educate to your marketing team about this opportunity to potentially also push this and educate all EXP agents nationwide, because Zillow has not monetized this opportunity yet. They will. And we can very quickly in the Q&A, I can cover Showing Time Plus and Listing Showcase, which is where you access this opportunity too. And I'll jump out of here to show you an example of what that looks like. So if you haven't seen it yet, Like this is a very busy client of mine that tapped into the Showing Time Plus relationship, where by adding, paying for the Showing Time Plus, and I believe it's about $1,100 a listing. I'm not advocating you do this, but if you've seen this, this is how this is happening with featuring. It's very, very unique. The listing stands out on Zillow. There's buyer lead opportunities with this. But again, if I click on it, if I click on any of the photos, it does bring up the same opportunity I just showed you, where it brands it with the listing agent, shows the floor plan, the AI-driven floor plan, and it shows the actual 3D tour itself. There's a bit of a lag here. And as you said, presented by Showing Time Plus, right? So I'm not a Zillow expert in regards to the relationship, but I know a little bit about it. So if you want to cover some of that, but I'm seeing a lot of my clients not tapping into the Showing Time Plus relationship. I'm seeing more of them into the new pilot program that just launched called Listing Showcase. It's far less expensive, very similar benefits. We are seeing clients ordering that, and my team's been certified to shoot Listing Showcase media, full clients signing up with that with Zillow. But by simply adding a Zillow 3D, you tap into very similar benefits, I will tell you. And that's free, right? All the promotional benefits I just shared with you, all of that is completely free to you if you just add a Zillow 3D with interactive floor plan, along with great listing photos, right? So again, it's again, I kind of want to wrap this up and then go into some Q&A if there's any Q&A. But again, in 2024, just you understand what you're up against in regards to what the platforms are serving up. Again, you got 100% of your listings go to these platforms, okay? And the agents that are buying into this, the buyer lead opportunity is, guess how many, what percentage? I know this, well, Peggy, if you say, how many, Paula? 1 to 3%. 1 to 3% of the agents are getting those buyer lead distribution, okay? That's a approximate range. So it's not just Zillow, it's Realtor.com. Everyone has this misconception that Realtor.com is owned in some way. I mean, I don't know. I think that who was it that used to own it? Was NAR, but Rupert Murdoch owns Realtor.com. They've also monetized Realtor.com, right? So Zillow is monetized. I mean, all these big giant platforms monetize these buyer leads, right? So this is also what I'm trying to show you is a pretty cool way to kind of, I think, I say hack the business model, the typical traditional business model that has become the traditional business model for these platforms. And then I feel that Realtor.com is presenting another great alternative, because the people that bought, if you're not familiar with Homes.com, if you saw the silly Super Bowl commercials, so I was chatting with their management team prior to all of that. We're in conversations to try and give them a better understanding as to some of the stuff that I do with Zillow that I think that they should consider doing. So, because I feel that it really will help our industry to have a little more balance with regards to market share, okay? So, but again, your market needs to matter to your target audience, and research shows, without a doubt, consumers love immersive marketing like 3D. And I guarantee you, in whatever your marketplace is, it's about 5% of what the market is delivering to consumers that are showing 80 to 90% of them want it. So there's a great opportunity for you guys. And again, I'm not in your marketplace, so I'm not trying to sell you a product or service of mine. I'm just telling you, most of my busy clients do it.
So Paolo,
yeah,
some of the keywords that you've said, and I mean, my phone is blowing up here with text messages about how great this is, and I appreciate that. Right, let's open it up. Let's go back to the screen, because I'm sure people have questions.
Sure.
And
yeah,
is there anything?
Oh, so which one do you want to go back to? Like,
oh, well, no, I mean, let's go back. All right. This is real. I want to know. I'm so glad you just clicked on that, because this was a discussion at one of the broker previews last week. You've got a virtual room, and then you stage it afterwards. And what is happening to stagers? What is the is there a liability of when you take a room, that's before, and then you add virtual staging.
Yeah, so I can only speak to kind of like Southern California. And I've had, so CRMLS is probably one of the largest MLSs in the country. Okay, I think they're like the second or third largest. And in speaking to their attorney over the years, because I'm large enough that I speak to executive team members for the MLSs, and I'm large enough that I am speaking to management team members for these platforms, some of the platforms I've been mentioning. And the initially when because we've been doing virtual staging for years, and I'm one of the approved vendors with the National Home Stager Association. So I somewhat reluctantly added virtual staging to my website, and I'm sure it's probably, maybe it's the same with photographers in your space in respect to space in the United States. But I purely did it because of the demand of my clients. Like they were like, Paulo, we need a more cost-effective way to help consumers spatially understand these vacant homes that we were doing a lot more of after COVID. So, and then after COVID, I was getting into conversations with the legal team, with CRMLS, and initially they wanted us to put it on the images to say virtually staged image, and we're like, this is terrible for my clients' marketing. Is there not a better way? And then my understanding is, as long as it's in the disclaimer section, and this is CRMLS, you know, that would comply. So always check. Yeah, always check with your local MLS expert because every MLS operates a little differently, right? Well, I mean, like, you know, whatever the local regional MLSs that you guys are working with. But for CRMLS, that was my understanding. That one thing that of course, they were saying, Paula, make sure your team is not, because we do have a series of different things where I get request. I'm just regional, right? But we could do 100+ shoots in a day. So we're one of the larger production teams, and I've seen some crazy requests coming into my team with, you know, removing power lines in the backyard and stuff like that. So what you can do, so we go, I'm so sorry, that's a no. I don't want to be in court with you and explaining, you know.
So there definitely are some things. All right, let's go back to the full screen of everybody that's on this call.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay.
Okay. Hi guys, welcome back. Hi, Janet, I was thinking of you in Nantucket too with these homes. So what do you think of this? Are you seeing it? We've got people from all over the country here. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your questions?
It's crazy. It's crazy, Peggy. Paulo, thank you so much. It's crazy because we're just getting used to integrating GPT and getting real with AI, and now we have to incorporate 3D and floor plans, and it's amazing because I've seen some of the Zillow postings with floor plans, and I like to look at floor plans myself. So that is amazing, and the agent information being all the way down. I always wondered, why was it so low and hard to get? So thank you for mentioning that, and this is mind-blowing. I'm gonna have to get my game on this. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. I would tell you, so go, if you're not familiar with homes.com, go on, if you have podcasts, like if you subscribe to or listen to podcasts, let's see, Context with Mike Del Prete, and I'll send this to Peggy too. The president of homes.com goes like for it was like a half hour explaining their some of the concepts that really are driving them, their philosophy and their ideology about where this is all coming from. Because CoStar, if you're not familiar with, so CoStar is a giant big company that bought homes.com, right? So homes.com, it kind of came from apartments.com. They acquired them in 2014. But when CoStar bought homes.com, kind of the new mission became, okay, let's really take on Zillow. Like let's do what's nearly impossible, which is take on the #1 incumbent, you know, industry leader with this platform, with the mindset that CoStar has had for 34 years in the commercial real estate space. And now let's apply that same philosophy to the residential space, which is your listing, your lead. I mean, what a concept, right? Your listing, your lead versus Zillow versus Realtor.com versus where it's not. It's your listing, my lead, right? So, so I encourage you guys to listen to this. And I'm speaking to their management, Homes.com's management team, to kind of give them free advice on things that I've seen. Because again, I've worked with Zillow at the management level because it could help my clients with certain programs like video. We were able to put branded video up on their platform without them being premier agents, and the Zillow 3D opportunity with branding and geo-targeted email access and some it's really crazy benefits that are no cost to my clients, right? I'm not free, but my Zillow 3Ds here in Southern California only start at $100. So I'd imagine, and I'm Southern California, so I'd imagine it's even more affordable wherever you guys are in the country. But
I don't mean to, I'm just
Oh, yeah.
looking at the time and I know there's
Oh, sure.
so much. So I know that Monica asked about the hack. We kind of went through that before, so you can watch the video on it. Gabrielle, you have your hand up?
Well, I think he just answered it. So I just want to make
Oh.
sure that the photographer is the one that needs to have a relationship with Zillow and does that work, not us. So if my photographer doesn't have like Zillow floor plan on their cart to choose, then I'm using the wrong photographer.
Yeah, so just so you know,
So
initially,
how do I find one that does, aside from calling every single photographer in the area?
yeah, okay. So the other thing you can do is like hit up Zillow's team, like they're so you can also, let me give you, so it's Zillow Care. I mean, and again, I look, I'm not advocating you guys engage Zillow and because I think unfortunately sometimes too when you say, hey, I'm interested in adding Zillow 3D, I'd be highly surprised if you didn't have the showing time team starting to bug you. So, so just so you know, just a heads up, because they bug a lot of my top clients, and I'm talking like my, 100 million and $1 billion career clients.
And
But-
Paulo, glad
yeah.
you said that. And I don't mean to jump in, but I know
Sure.
what some people are thinking. Because the price points of the people on this call are so different.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got an average sale price somewhere of 250,000. We're talking, people doing $70 million listings here. It doesn't matter what space you're in, is what I hear you saying.
Oh,
This
my
is
word.
something that's going to work for everyone.
Every market, every price point, whether it's $100,000 listing or $1 million listing, you still are competing with where are the consumers shopping? What platform? So you can't be naive about this. You just look at the data, and that's a nationwide average that I shared with you, that independent research study. So most of those consumers are on that platform. And a lot of what they're going to be adding, like the Zillow 3D solution, is going to make their platform even more sticky until Homes.com hopefully get some of this $1 billion. The real estate industry has never seen a marketing strategy like Homes.com have deployed. And they started out with the Super Bowl with some of those silly commercials, right? But they're investing. So just so you know, behind Homes.com is a company with a market cap of $34 billion, with $5 billion in cash in the bank. And they're committed to taking on Zillow. So,
I mean, again, this is stuff, guys, you got to start to research. You got to get into these groups. You got to listen to these podcasts. I want to get to other questions. Sandy, you had a question that you put in the chat and it just disappeared. So jump in.
Oh, my question is, on the photos that we have on, the MLS and stuff, should we have it embedded with SEO, any kind of descriptions, things like that? So when they're searching for certain type of homes with, a beautiful creek background or whatever, that it's able to pull those type of photos? Is there something that we need to be doing embedded in the photos?
yeah, there are certain keywords that consumers are looking for, and varies around the country. So for sure, even in your property description, right, on the MLS, it's not lost on Zillow. If you notice, like they'll do highlight, right? They'll have keywords they drop in there. That all plays into the way that there's certain things that their algorithms are programmed for as far as placement goes. I'm not that up on exactly which one it is. I will tell you if it's Zillow, if it's 3D. So people go, well, okay, so I've always done Matterport. So great. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, and it'll play over to Zillow in regards to placement. So words do matter with the words you're using across the entire spectrum of real estate. So usually that, like neighborhood, schools, pools, and I have an accent. So did I say that right, Peggy? Pool, P-O-L. So P-O-O-L. But make sure also there, so you can geotag your photos. We do. So whoever your photography team is, they can geotag, and that's also not lost on the platforms. So that all plays into the overall marketing success of a listing, like the listing launch. But yeah, I will tell you that adding this immersive marketing really does make a big difference on these real estate platforms like Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com. But it's not lost on the other platforms that are watching. So there's fluid algorithms, right? And they're all learning from each other. These people are no longer involved in this stuff. So you got a fluid algorithm that's watching on Google, watching what is sticky on Zillow, right? And Redfin and Realtor.com. And why did consumers linger with this listing longer than that listing? And they kind of learn, and then that affects placement, right? So it seems right now that it's not lost on all the platforms how sticky listings are with 3D marketing. And Zillow wants to like their baby is Zillow 3D Home, right? And their baby is competing against Matterport. So I've had to explain to some of my top clients that have got to really enjoy what Matterport does for their listings. And I've had to show them the value of switching over to Zillow 3D. Like if marketing is a concern, like they have a marketing budget, and they're saying, Paulo, what are the two things that you would suggest I do for my listing? I got this listing, it's $1 million in whatever, Temecula. I would say great listing photos, add Zillow 3D with interactive floor plan. Before video, before anything else, before aerial photos, because of all the benefits you're getting currently up on these big giant platforms where all the consumers are shopping, and you can demonstrate that to a potential client. Like, when you're going in there and you're saying, hey, I got a unique marketing proposition for my listings. The marketing I attach drives my listing to the top of the search result. All these big platforms like Zillow. I geo-target email into my respective marketplace with AI-driven, immersive 3D floor plans that it's going to explain your home to a potential home shopper. And, it brands it with me. So there's no distortion. It's very easy for buyers to connect with me on these on Zillow, for instance, right? Because of the way that I market my listings versus a competitor, I won't even mention this stuff to them. So talk about points of difference. So yeah.
That's key. That's really key. And I know it's, excuse me, we're running over. I hope you guys go back and listen to this, and I will get you the slides. Even in the very beginning, some of the conversations, like the scripts he gave you, that will set you apart when you walk in the door for a listing. What did you say? Immersive marketing?
Yeah, immersive marketing. Yeah.
How many of you heard that? How many of you walked into a listing and said, I have an immersive marketing platform? What? Fake it even, because you're going to find a professional that's going to help you do it. Paulo, this was absolutely amazing. Guys, I don't know what you think, but let's see. Oh no, I overslept. Susie, we'll get the recording for you. That's funny. What I love about people like Paulo and other people is that he's not in your market area. And you need to surround yourself with people who are givers and not takers. And when he and I were talking last week, and I told him about Wake Up Wednesdays, he's like, I'll do this for you. And I'm like, why would you want to do it? You're not going to get any business from this because it's always giving, guys. And that's our culture, right? That's what sets us apart. And having people that are going to give you the keywords, that are going to talk to you about the high tech things, are going to help you to be a better agent. So go back, look at the recording. I'll get things. Brad, you're welcome. I will get things posted for you. And, you know, someone like Paulo, I think we should have you back again in a few months. Janet's going, yes. All right, I will get everybody's information. I'll get all this out there, and I gotta go because we gotta go to a broker preview in California. You go, you have breakfast, everybody, and you pitch your listings, and then you go out on tour and you get to network and all that great stuff. So I get to go see some gorgeous homes today. You guys are the best. Thank you all.
Pleasure meeting you all. Peggy, I'll send you the slides.
Is
Thank
anybody
you,
going to
Paolo.
Is anybody going to
My pleasure,
anybody
guys.
going to Cabo? Anybody going to Cabo who's on this? Okay.
I am.
Yes, we have to talk about it, but we'll be doing this live from Cabo next Wednesday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we'll do it together, Peggy.
Okay. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a
Bye.
blessed day. Love y'all. Bye.